How dare you honk while I film? We've got the brand new Sony 16-35 G lens. Half the cost of the G Master lens, half the weight, and with power zoom. Let's check it out. You're filming?
Yeah.
Good. I want it all. All right, let's talk about the Sony 16-35 f4G lens. First of all, it's extremely light. It weighs just over half a pound and is very similar to the weight as the Sony 24mm G Master lens. Why is this important? Well, it's easier to vlog with, of course, and because it's so lightweight, it makes it an ideal lens to use on a gimbal, just like the Diongzon M3. The zoom and focus rings are incredibly smooth, the aperture ring is declickable, and has an iris lock switch to lock a specific aperture value in place. Pretty nifty there. Of course, you've got your manual focus, autofocus switch, an extra function button where you can register whatever function you want, but the talk of the town is the power zoom slider. Now, the power zoom is something very useful and something that I really loved with the 18-105 G lens. It just gives you that smooth zoom in, zoom out feature that you kind of miss out with other lenses like the 16-35 G Master lens. And the best part about the power zoom is that you can actually control the zoom in multiple ways. Yes, there is the zoom switch on the side of the lens, but you can also assign buttons on the camera to act as a zoom feature. So for those cameras that don't have a zoom rocker, like for example with this camera, the A7 IV, it doesn't have a zoom rocker, but I can assign the directional pad to be my zoom buttons, which is really, really cool. Also, if you have the Imaging Edge app and you have like a second shooter with you, well, you can give that second shooter your phone and they can control the zoom as you're filming your shot, which is, it's crazy. Now, do you need a zoom button? No, of course not, but it is very helpful, especially if you want controlled and smooth zooms when you're filming. Really great for when you're filming those cool vertical shots like this, and really easy to do as well. When you're pushing in, just zoom out, and when you're pulling back, zoom forward. But who else would find the power zoom useful? Well, I definitely say that wedding filmmakers who want smooth zooms during the ceremony or reception would find it helpful. I'd also think that camera operators filming live events would find it helpful, or even parents filming their kids' soccer game might find it helpful. This lens is the perfect dad cam lens. I took this lens out and shot my son's soccer game, and it was actually really cool. And sometimes you would think that the 16-35 wouldn't be, you can't zoom in a lot, but with the A7 IV, you can actually go into crop mode. And so with that feature on the A7 IV, like the 16-35 G lens can be a pretty versatile lens if you know how to use it properly. All right, let's talk autofocus performance. It's good. Like, it's really, really good. It's incredibly fast and accurate thanks to the 4 XD linear motors, which is the same internal focusing system as the Sony 50mm 1.2 G Master lens.
All the traffic decided to come at the same time.
All the traffic, all the time. Whenever I film, there's like traffic going by. Sometimes people will like honk the horn, like, hey, mess up. I would do that though. So now I'm gonna slap this entire setup, my A7 IV, the 16-35 G lens on a gimbal, and I'm just gonna follow Landry around and yeah, just kind of show off the lens as a gimbal lens. Does that make sense? You know what I mean. All right, so this is my gimbal setup, and oh my gosh, it's so light. I love it. This is way lighter than having my 16-35 G Master lens attached. This is fantastic. Oh, and this is the Diongzon M3, by the way, in case you have this gimbal and yeah, you kind of want a wide angle lens that's light to attach to your camera setup. This is it. This is great. And oh, I'm ready to rock and roll. This looks really good. So it's a little drizzly outside, but good thing is that the 16-35 is weather sealed, and so it could handle a bit of a pitter patter. It's pitter patter proof. There's a saying in Texas: if you don't like the weather, wait 10 minutes. Here's 10 minutes. All right, so since we're kind of stuck in this monsoon, I'm just gonna show you examples of filming in full frame, crop mode, and using the zoom on the 16-35. Get a nice wide angle shot, 60 millimeters, nice and wide. And now let's zoom in to 35. All right, now because we're using the A7 IV, we're gonna go into crop mode, giving me a 1.5 magnification. Now, what about image quality for videos and photos? Well, let's take a close look at it and even compare it with the Sony 16-35 G Master lens. Alright, so let's now take a look at the photos shot with both lenses. On the left is going to be the 16-35 G lens, and on the right is going to be the 16-35 G Master lens. Oh, and by the way, this is not going to be a scientific comparison by any means. This is just going to be a comparison used in a casual setting. Both lenses were shot with the Sony Alpha 7 IV, so you get that 33 megapixel goodness. And right off the bat, the new 16-35 G lens seems wider than the G Master lens, probably because the barrel of the 16-35 G Master lens is a lot longer than the G lens. Like you see more of the ceiling over here where you don't really see as much in this image right there. It's actually pretty interesting. I didn't notice that while we were filming. But let's go ahead and take a closer look at this image. Let's go ahead and zoom in, and they both look very, very similar. It's pretty sharp around the eyes, which is what matters. And yeah, I can't really tell the difference between the two. I'd maybe say that the colors were a little bit better with the G Master lens, but I mean, at first glance, it looks very, very similar. All right, let's go ahead and compare another image shot at 35 millimeters. Zooming back out, the image looks pretty similar overall. I mean, there is vignetting in the corners, very slightly at f4, but that's expected with a wide angle lens. Again, similar vignetting with the G Master lens over here. But yeah, both images look very, very identical. Let's move on to an image shot at 35 millimeters, shall we? All right, so now let's take a look at this image with both lenses shot at 35 millimeters. Overall, it looks pretty similar to me. Again, the colors look slightly better with the G Master lens, but not by much. But overall, again, looks very, very similar. Let's go ahead and zoom in. Very similar as well. Sharp around the eyes, sharp around the face. The bokeh in the background is slightly better with the G Master version. Definitely a lot smoother and blends in a bit more than the G lens over here. But at first glance, it's kind of hard to tell the difference. But yeah, so far at 35 millimeters for both lenses, they look pretty similar. And for this comparison, we went into crop mode on the A7 IV at 35 millimeters. So that's a 1.5 crop, giving you a 52.5 millimeter focal length. Overall, the image looks kind of similar, although Landry's face looks a little squished with the G lens, where with the G Master lens, it looks a little more natural. Maybe it was the angle that I was at, but it does look kind of the same, although it seems like there's a little more vignetting with the G lens, where with the G Master image, the fall off of the vignette looks a little more smooth. And let's go ahead and zoom in. Again, it's hard to tell the difference, which is sharper. Yeah, I can't really tell the difference between the two. I mean, it's pretty impressive that the 16-35 G lens can keep up with the G Master lens. But let's go back to the wide shot at 16 millimeters, but this time I'm going to shoot at f2.8 with the G Master lens. So overall, the image looks fairly the same, although there is slight distortion with the G Master lens at f2.8. But let's go ahead and zoom in and compare. Yeah, both look very similar. Although with the G Master lens, it retains the sharpness while having a smoother bokeh in the background. And so there's definitely a clear difference there. But in terms of sharpness on Landry's face, they're both very, very sharp. And then moving on to this image with both lenses shot at 35 millimeters, again with the G Master at f2.8, there is definitely a difference between the two. I mean, right off the bat, there's definitely a lot more bokeh with the G Master lens because I am shooting at a lower aperture. And overall just makes the subject pop a little bit more, which is actually really nice. But let's go ahead and zoom in and compare sharpness. Well, both images are pretty sharp, but since I'm shooting at f2.8 with the G Master lens, the bokeh in the background just looks much nicer than the G lens. But again, it's pretty impressive that the 16 and 35 G lens can keep up with the 16 and 35 G Master lens. Yes, I know it's not exactly a scientific comparison, but I just wanted to compare both lenses used in a casual setting. I will say that the 16-35 G lens is a much lighter lens than the G Master counterpart. Like the G Master lens is so heavy, making it kind of difficult to vlog with sometimes. Also, I'm not the strongest of people, but this whole setup right here, like I could vlog all day. This feels really, really good. Now, I know it's f4, but filming at f4 isn't the end of the world. I mean, sometimes when I vlog, I have to crank it up to f18 or whatever just to make sure my shot is exposed. Sure, I don't get that blurry background, but not everything has to be blurry. And so if you're a stickler that it's not an f2 lens or an f2.8 lens, like it's honestly not that big of a deal if you're looking for a lighter lens to vlog with. And if you really do want the f2.8 lens, then yeah, sure, spend the $2,000, get the G Master version or some other lens in the f2.8 range. But for half the cost of the G Master lens, and for light of the lens this is, I think the Sony 16-35 G lens is a really good vlog lens because it's so light. Oh gosh darn it, like every time we try to pack up our gear, it starts pouring down again. What is happening? How do you think the day's going so far?
Not too shabby, except for the monsoon that hit us.
Just a little damp, just a little bit. All right, so vlogging with the 16-35 G lens, and you might be asking, is this lens weather sealed? Well, it is, and I'm vlogging outside and it's raining right now, and it's totally fine, at least I think it is. But yeah, it's a weather sealed lens, great lens. I love how lightweight it is. It's really cool. You wanna feel it? Here you go. What do you think?
Super lightweight.
Yeah?
Yeah.
And you had the 18-105, right?
Yeah.
How do you compare like this lens and the 18-105?
I was like getting shaky arms with that one after a while. This one, I could do it one-handed.
It's a pretty light lens, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, very cool.
Not bad.
I like it. I like it. I usually like filming in downtown McKinney because it's just nice and pretty. And you know, with spring coming up, I thought today was going to be a very sunny day. Clearly, I was wrong. But you know, it is Texas.
Yeah.
Right? Thunderstorms every 10 minutes. I don't usually bring my camera out when it's raining. Like I know it's weather sealed and all, but you know, I just don't want to take the chance. But I got no choice at the moment. But I think it's holding up. Oh my gosh, I feel like I'm Hawkeye. Do I look like Hawkeye? I feel like I'm Hawkeye. All right, well that's it for this video. Thanks for watching. Let me know what you think of the lens down in the comments below. But also subscribe to Landry. He has a YouTube channel. He's awesome. He just started. So yeah, go give him a follow. His link to his channel will be down below as well. But any other thing to say?
Get the lens.
Get the lens. All right, see ya.